Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity.
Alrighty, folks, Joe Snedeker here. Woo! Fake excitement. And I am Mr. Curiosity. And I'll tell you who I'm curious about now. And this is no joke. EJ the DJ. Real name. What's the real name? EJ Doer?
It's EJ Doer.
And
yeah,
that sounds like an inspirational name. Like, this guy's a doer.
Yeah, well, or Scotch.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, doers.
But it's actually spelled differently.
Yeah.
How you been? Okay.
I've been fantastic. So I just want to let everyone know why we're doing this. Here's my inspiration. I try to pluck out of the region interesting people who are alive, people who are vibrant, people who are doing.
As opposed to the mortician that you interviewed.
Well, listen, I've been curious about.
What did I draw? I drew the big straw. What happened?
No, were you always curious about mortician stuff your whole life? Like,
guess what? My good friend Frank Adamo is a mortician, and he has taken a few of us in his time on calls, and not that we wanted to go, but his life is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
I find
it's actually fascinating. I couldn't do it.
That's what I mean.
All I know is that somebody someday is going to do that. Like no one is going to meet. Like, not everyone's going to meet somebody. But guess what? That guy is going to meet you.
Isn't that weird? And you block that out. Don't you do what I do? It's like you don't think about it.
I always block it out. And
I know, but you know that you're going to be on someone's table and they're going to be draining your blood. It's like not even comprehensible.
It's crazy.
We're getting off topic. All right.
Well, I do want to tell you that I watched you and Mindy today, and this is the thing that I love the most about you, Joe, is that I am, the sky's always blue for me. I try to be the most positive guy in the world, and I see your forecasts all the time, and you're always and this I thought of years ago. I said, boy, Snedeker would have loved a job in Southern California. I said, they wake up and they go, well, there might be a cloud at like 2. It is so easy to be doing the forecast. Plus they have all those crazy names too, like Stormy Weather is the guy's name, or Rain, Josh Rains. Like, yeah,
but if you'll notice something about all those West Coast TV people, they all have perfect hair and teeth, and and the women are all fake plastic. Yeah, so that's not my style. I don't like.
They're all bronzed up too.
Yeah, I hate fake anything. That's why. Right. You got to stay positive and you got to stay real. But you're right. The universe brought us together because you're a positive, enthusiastic guy. And I think that's the main reason.
I love life.
Are you like me? Like when negative, cranky people, it's like, just stay away. Like, I don't even know how to deal with that.
There's a guy that's on Facebook, and me and another guy are like, he's so positive. And his name is Vinny. He owns the V Spot. Okay. He's such an interesting guy, but he is Mr. Positive. He's like Prozac. Like, he's unbelievable. Like,
should I get him on?
He's fantastic. You would love him. He's great.
All right.
He's a Western Field guy. But the thing is that we always say, hey, look what this guy put out on Facebook. It's always like the world, the boom, 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 boom. The whole thing from The Price is Right. That music. We always do that.
In a positive way.
Correct. He's Mr. Positive.
Well, before we talk about your history, I'd like to first tell everyone, just because maybe they're saying, I don't know if I'm going to want to listen to this podcast. Who is this guy? What's he do? Why is he relevant in my life? Could you sell yourself in 1 minute?
Well, I think my life has been chapters, like film and television, little politics, then moving back to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and starting a DJ business 24 to be precise, 24 years ago, and just selling myself to the community and doing what's best. Like there's so many. The greatest thing about DJing is that you hit so many different parts of Northeast Pennsylvania, and pretty much. I mean, I've done weddings as far as Virginia Beach. I've done weddings, and a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals used to fly me to California to do his New Year's Eve party. It was so much fun, and all, you get all different types of people that you deal with, and I'm really interested in what I found my niche in with DJing is this special needs children, which I love, and anybody that's a veteran, stuff like that. They're the people that are really, like, eventually I was just telling that I want to do my own podcast with my partner would be Mike Christ, who's a Down syndrome kid who is extremely intelligent. He's from the Peckville area and he's a great kid. So that's one of my next pet projects.
See, folks, if you're not sold on listening to this yet, then come on, right? That's enough of a sell right there. He's a DJ, but you got an interesting arc to your life. So that's what we have to jump on that arc.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to go through all the trials and tribulations you've been on. All right. First of all, are you one of those guys you're not going to tell your age? Where were you born?
No.
Give me the hospital. Give me the date. Give it to me, baby.
I was born August 10th, 1962. So I'm 59 years old, and August 10th, I'll be 60, and I'm excited about that.
I think you look pretty good for your age, although I don't know if you have your face,
Nothing.
Your camera on. Yeah, you have the smooth out lens, I think, on. You have the Diane Sawyer camera on. It hides your wrinkles. Is that what's happening now?
I swear to God. I heard somebody say, well, how do you keep your complexion? I said, I don't wash my face that much.
Keep the oils in, maybe.
Right. I don't know what it is. And every time I work out, I go into the steam room. That's I don't know what it is, but hopefully I keep my youth. But that's right, okay. It doesn't. My age does not bother me.
I hate, when the people hide their age, when they cover up their scars, and when they get work done, it's a turnoff for me. It's like, what are you afraid of? Just be yourself. Be real.
Right.
This is all I ask from people. Be real.
Exactly. And the thing is that no one ever really asked me. Like the same kids that I deal with since they're small. And I did an elementary school the other day. I like that music. I like some of that hip hop stuff, and I like
I think you're a dad rocker like me.
Yeah, I like that. I like it. And I don't mind. Like, I wasn't a big country guy. And then all of a sudden when I start DJing, I said, boy, this is good. I like some of this country stuff. And I liked One Direction when they were out. Like, I went to see One Direction. So I've seen Springsteen 15 times. But I saw One Direction. Like, I would go see them. I would go see, Kelly Clarkson, stuff like that.
I think that's the key. When you immerse yourself in something, then you become interested in it, right? You expand your horizons. But anyway, who were your mom and dad? Born where? Scranton area, you said here?
Dad were born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. My mother is Martha Dewar, Unesco. She's in Unesco, and the Unescos are where all her brothers were big umpires in the area, and my father's name was Duke Dewar, and Duke Dewar was a very popular man. He died in 2000, but he interesting story. He was always joking around. He was the funniest man you could ever imagine. And even to the day that he died, it's like the doctor said, we were all in there, we were crying, and I go. And the doctor goes, we're just going to make you comfortable, Duke, right? And he said, and Duke turns and he goes, well, guys, get the suits pressed because Dad's coming home. Like right to the end, he was just, and at his funeral, he loved Sinatra, who we met, him and I met him in Atlantic City. That's another crazy story.
You're getting ahead. We got to keep the arc going.
So,
here. I love it.
So at his funeral, we did it. We kicked it out and had a DJ at the gravesite and kicked it out to New York.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What did he do for a living?
My father was a mailman.
Is that right?
Yeah, my mom was secretary for the Scranton Housing Authority.
So you have any siblings? Who'd you grow up with?
I have my sister who lives in Virginia Beach, who I'm extremely close to. Her name is Nancy, and my brother Mark is the head of maintenance for Lackawanna County. And my brother Pat just passed away 2 years ago, 55 years old, with beautiful children, good guy. He had some lung conditions. We had a huge benefit up at Montage that thousands, maybe 5,000 people came to, and he was my business partner. But miss him terribly. But I talk to him every day. He's what a positive guy he was.
So you're growing up with these siblings, and you have middle class roots, and public school guy.
Public school guy. I went to John Adams, kindergarten to 6th grade. Then I went to North Scranton Junior High School, and that was probably, there was little plays at John Adams, and then at North Scranton, Miss Palutis did all the plays, which my daughter McKay and Olivia, and they're very, very artsy, and they're athletic. They play softball. My wife is a teacher. My wife Penny is a teacher, mathematics teacher. So
are you just using her for her benefits? Is that what's going on?
What did you say earlier? Be honest, PJ. Be honest. No, I love my wife to death. She's awesome.
I kid. So when you were in high school, when you're like 10th, 11th, 12th grade, what were you like? What were you thinking? What am I going to do for my life? Were you like a studly athletic guy? Were you like a drama guy? Were you a nerdy guy?
I can sum it up like we'll go back to North Scranton. There was like the Wiz, and then the Wizard of Oz. We did Gypsy. So I was in those plays, but it was almost like athletics got in the way of my acting and performing career. So I would juggle that all the time. And back then it wasn't cool to be in the play or into chorus. So when I went to Scranton Tech, this Miss Mobley came up to me and she goes, "Oh, I came to the play and you're not a bad singer and you're not a bad actor. I want you to come in and join the chorus." And I was like, "No way." And I didn't think. And she said, "There's a lot of chicks there in chorus." So of course I went and I joined, and I was the only guy. In chorus. So I thought, okay, it's fine. We're in class. No one has to see me. I'm not going to be exposed. Now your grade was showing up at the Christmas concerts. So I go to Mrs. Mobley, I am not going up on stage with all the girls. This and that. She goes, "It's your grade, EJ." So I remember football practice. First of all, the curtains opened up, and a bunch of my guys in the audience were laughing because you could see me. I'm like an olive in a martini sticking out up in the corner. I said, "At least put me in the corner." I had a brown suit. I wore that brown suit for 3 years, and everything went fine. The whole thing. But then now I'm walking down the football practice and they're like really busting my buttons. But my football coach stood right in front of everybody. It's got us in a circle and said, "If I hear one guy say something about EJ Dewar, you're out of here." He goes, "He has more guts than any one of you to go up on stage with everybody." So that was right. Killed.
That was a bold statement for the time, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, it was crazy. It's crazy.
And I know what you mean. For a lot, I'm only a few years younger than you, and right. Yeah, you're right. That was like a girl thing. That was like a girl thing. I know what you mean, though, right?
Yeah. But then, I would go to basketball games and stuff like that, and I would see there would be male cheerleaders in high school, and I would "Oh, that's cool! You have the guts to go out there." There was a kid over at West, and he was a tough kid. But he was also the lead in the plays over at West, and he was like a district wrestler. So no one ever would say anything to him. But I wasn't that pick on the guy. But this kid was unpickable on. You know what I mean? So I still did the plays, but here's what ended up happening: is that we did Mary Poppins, and then we did Grease at Tech. So in high school, what was awesome is that I got all the football players in Greece to play the other guys. So they all were like way into it. So then it was like, it was so cool to be in the play, because now we filled the house. And Mr. Mobley said to me, and I don't think of his name again, our director. He was a wonderful guy, and he'll kill me if he's listening to this podcast that I forgot his Mr. Hopkins. Mr. Hopkins is awesome. He was just way over the top. He was always like this kind of guy, all over the place. So Mr. Mobley came up to me after the play and said, "You changed the culture here at Tech personally by getting those kids to getting those football players." Next year, she had 12 guys.
See that? You're blazing trails, brother. You're blazing trails.
It was great. And to this day, you get on to, we have a great chorus over at West Scranton, and we have a fabulous chorus program at Scranton High, and those teachers are tremendous. And I try my best to get to all the plays.
But does that mean, so if I'm trying to get into your history here, does that mean that you were somehow, you had this thespian inside, and you what were you thinking? Actor? Were you thinking movie star? Were you thinking Broadway?
I always wanted to do film so bad. Like, people are like, "Hey, do you want to do soap operas?" I said, I just want to do film. I'm so intrigued with film. And we'll get to that in a minute, because now I'm playing baseball. So now I go to Lackawanna to play baseball. I get a scholarship there to play baseball. And I said, well, here we go. I'm going to Lackawanna, but there's no theater at Lackawanna at the time. Where Farley's was where Lackawanna was.
Yeah.
And not Farley's. It's not even Farley's anymore. And next door was Lackawanna. So as soon as I got there, we were in Canada playing baseball. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, playing baseball up in Canada. And it's like, now here I am trending into, like, I got to get to the batting cages every single solid day. So everything has shifted. Everything shifted. So anything that I did, like, say, performance wise, was being drunk doing karaoke somewhere. You know what I mean? So like, that was put on the back burner.
I see you, by the way, third base, batting sixth.
No, I was a catcher, and I totally moved up the lineup by the time my sophomore year at Lackawanna. I was hitting fourth or fifth. I was.
Nice. So you're a good ball player, and you're this energetic guy. You're this performer. And so, what would you end up settling on at Lackawanna, though? What was your major? What were you studying?
Well, I got an associate's degree, which was maybe about 2 years older. That was,
in what?
That was,
in what?
In business.
Okay. But you didn't know what to do. You didn't know what you wanted.
I didn't know what to do. Even towards the tail end, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Am I going to go on? I was going to go down to a school in Florida Atlantic University. It was their first year of their baseball program, so they were asking me and this other kid from Lackawanna to come down there and play, and I just kind of let the summer go, and so I didn't do it.
So now when you're in your early 20s, what happens? What are you doing for a living?
So I'm working at Cooper's Seafood House. I started waiting tables. At Cooper's Seafood.
Now, do you know those guys, or was it just a job?
Jack and I we're like brothers. Jack, Paul, Mark, and Steve, and Matt. Like, I grew up with Matt, but Jack and I are extremely tight. I'm telling you, there's not 2-3 days a week we talk on the phone.
They're on one of my, for our listeners out there, I did a podcast with the whole Cooper's crew. Those guys, I love them. It's not even, it's beyond love. It's something, they're just great dudes.
Paul Cooper is the biggest crybaby in the world, because I'm a crybaby. Like, I just remember when his kid was born, his name was Cody, and I used to call him Code Blue, because he had to go he was in the hospital for like the first 2 months, and blah, 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 all that stuff.
So when you say cryberry, baby, you're talking about an emotional, caring guy.
Exactly. Not a crybaby about it. He's not a whiner.
Right.
But okay. Jack is more of the businessman, but he has a really great side to him with a big heart. And they kind of took me under their wing earlier, and it's funny that like the first time I met you, you go, yeah, because you saw me up at Lakeland or something, and they were, I don't know, they were taping
yeah.
They were taping you to a wall. I remember that, or something like that.
Yep.
Did they tape you to the wall up there?
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, you said, he's like a sweaty dad, and it was funny. It's because like I go, I am. so Jack like took me under my wing, and they used to just like go, hey, you got to get real nice clothes. You got to take, not that I didn't have nice clothes. I just needed to take care of myself better, like care of how I looked all the time. So, I stayed at Cooper's for 9 years. And matter of fact, I opened their restaurant in Pittston. And then that's when I moved to California after I told Jack, this is my last year.
Okay. So stop right there. Your entire 20s. You're working at Cooper's.
Yeah.
Are you getting married? Are you having kids? Or
not married. Not married. I met my bride at the downtown athletic club. We used to play racquetball, and I knew my wife Penny is from West Side. She's a graduate over there, and she's good, very very athletic herself, and we met down at the downtown athletic club, and we just hit it off from there. But the thing about our love and our relationship is that I lived in California for the better half of 7 years, and we still had this long distance relationship, which was awesome.
Well, wait, so you gotta stop, because you're losing me. So your entire 20s, you're working at Cooper's.
Right.
And when you were like 26, 27, 28, no offense to Cooper's, but were you thinking, I don't know, I want to do something with my life? And were you living at home? Where were you living?
I was living at home.
You're one of those guys. You're at home in the basement until you're 30 years old.
I wasn't. I was clinging to my mother because she was like, she not that I didn't want to get out. She enjoyed my company.
Listen, I stayed home until I was 27 too. I think guys like us, I had great parents, and she wanted me there too. My mother, like, this is great. I have a job. My mother's still, pressing my bed sheets. Why wouldn't I? It was a warm, positive experience.
And what was I doing on the outside? It wasn't just like Cooper's go home. I was playing on a travel softball team.
Okay.
Fast pitch softball team, and we traveled all around. We won 2 state championships, and we went to the national champ. Played in Spokane, played in Hialeah, Florida, played in Atlanta, Atlanta, Georgia. And they were great times all the way up. And then I said, this is it. So at the tail end of Cooper's, I started to date my wife, and it was like because I had set in stone that I was moving to California.
Yeah, why that? Why? What's your plan? Why California? What were you thinking?
Because I was thinking that film, going back to my
so you're still pushing that. I love it.
I wanted to do film, so like film is LA, and also I remember when I used to wake up when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and the Knicks were playing the Lakers. And it would be on at like 12:30 at night. Yeah. Because they were playing so late. And I would turn it on, and everything was yellow. Like the Lakers are yellow, and the people in the stands were tan and beautiful, and everybody to be honest with you, Joe, there's like 2 ugly people in LA.
That's the time I was there.
No, there was 2 fat people. And when I got off the plane, I was the other fat person. But then I said, you know what? I trimmed down. I got to where I was wearing.
Well, wait, so you just went out there. I mean, is it the old story? I just got a suitcase, filled it, and went out west alone and started doing commercials or pitching yourself like
more or less. But I will tell you what, Jason Miller, God bless him. He was friends with my uncle John. And I got to know Jason through a couple plays and stuff like that. And so I went to him, and I was talking to him, and we went out a few times, and he was a fun guy to go out with. Because the one thing about Jason is the last thing he ever wanted to talk about was movies and stuff like that.
Well, sure, when you do it for a living, you don't want to do it.
It was all about Notre Dame football. And I didn't know how much of a star he was till I moved to LA, and he got me into this acting school out there, and when I was in the acting school, the thing with what it was is you do scenes for 6 weeks, and then they guarantee it. They film, then they bring film and agents in to try to get you an agent. So I walk into this class, Walter Rainey, who just passed away. He was in tons and tons of movies, and he was close to Jason, and Jason Patrick, who was Miller's son.
Okay.
Like Jason Patrick, people don't know his real name is Jason Patrick Miller. But and he was in Speed and all those great movies. He's done a ton of good movies. But he would come because him and Walter were very, very close. And one of the greatest stories is he was dating Julia Roberts at the time. So Walter tells me, who didn't drive. He didn't drive. Walter tells me, the director of the program, he goes, "Come pick me up right now." I'm like, "Walter, I'm like 40 minutes away. I live down near Anaheim." So I had to drive up to LA as fast as I can, pick him up, and we're going we went to see Casablanca at Warner Brothers. So I walk in, we go to the house, and he knocks on the door. And Jason Patrick answers the door. He's like, "What's up, Walter?" He goes, "I'm all set." Walter was an ad duck. So he goes, "Okay, we're all set, right?" And he goes, "Hey, EJ, nice to meet you. My dad told me a bunch of things about you. Come on, we're gonna go to the movies." So here's who's in the movie theater. I don't even know if I watched it. I was so nervous because here's Julia Roberts with Jason Patrick, two of their other friends, and me and Walter, and they're sitting behind us. So now the guy's getting the movie set all the reel all set up, but it's a private because they can't go to the, like Julia Roberts at the time, she can't go to the movies, she'd get mocked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're sitting there talking, and here comes Jason Patrick out with 2 cases of beer. I'm like, this is great, right? So now everybody's loosening up, and they're talking this and that, and it was like it was a great night, and like gave her a hug before I left. It was nice to meet you. Never saw her again because they broke up. But
I was gonna say, so if you're out west and you're mixing it up and you have a slight in and you're with these big Hollywood types, why did it ever come close to taking off? Did you ever get off the launch pad or no?
Well, I did 26 national commercials.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I did about 3. I did a lot of film, and that's another story within itself.
But did they say right off the bat, were people encouraging like EJ, you got it, man. We're gonna because you almost like a John Goodman type. I could see you. Like, did they say that? Did you?
When I first did that, remember I was saying with the agents, there was people there for 6 years, Joe. No agent, 6 years there. And I'm like going, am I going to be sitting here for 6 years waiting to get an agent? I do the scene with this other guy who was on NYPD. He's on NYPD Blue. Excellent actor. Forgot his name because it's almost 25.
Right. Yeah.
30 years ago. Some of these guys, I forget their names. So Don Gurler's in the audience, and he walks up to, and he points at this one kid who was horrific. And I'm going, oh my God, he's pointing to Stanley. He's terrible, right? He's terrible. He goes, oh, who's Stan? He goes, no, that other guy next to that guy. And he grabs Walter's hand and he points to me. So he comes over and I go, yes. He goes, I'm Don Gurler, who's like it's this huge agency in
right.
LA. He goes, I want you to come down Monday. I'm going to sign you. I was there 6 months and I got signed with an agent. The thing is that, and here, what was the downfall? Is that I was so inexperienced. I was trying, and if I could give anybody an advice who wants to be an actor, the worst thing you can do is act. Don't ever act. Just be yourself. Get into it. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. So I mean, the first 60 auditions I was not even getting callbacks.
Because you were trying to be something you're not. You were just playing a role.
I was trying to be, and I went to Carol DeAndrea, and Carol DeAndrea has one of the biggest acting schools in the U.S. She teaches in New York and in. I hope I'm not boring you. Is this?
No, why did I have a boring gesture?
No, not at all. No. So I went to her and matter of fact, I walk into her house and she says, "Sit down." She goes, so I sit down in a chair. She goes, "No, we're sitting on the floor," which was weird. She was in West Side Story.
Wow.
Her and Rita Moreno like this, and within 20 minutes, she has me bawling, crying. She stripped me apart. Knew my family background, knew everything about me, knew every single solitary thing of my weaknesses.
Well, what do you mean? So what was her point? Why did she what?
Because she needed to tell me to get rid of all that stuff. To just the reason why you're here is because who you are. Don't try to be somebody else.
Oh.
Don't ever try to be some. And I was always trying to be somebody else.
That's good advice for anybody at any time.
Yeah.
Unless you're Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, exactly.
But then why didn't after that moment, why don't you take off and become a big star and then
here's what I did. So now I meet an athletic agent, and that's when everything went crazy. I start doing commercials for the athletic agent is sending me out on Budweiser. Like I did 6 national commercials at Dodger Stadium. So I'm in the Dodgers uniform. Yeah. So it was great. I did and I have a great story. Do you care if I tell you the great story about the drop the beer?
It's your time, buddy. We're getting close, but yeah, you squeeze it in.
Okay. So I'll tell the film story first. So I meet a guy.
I'm just going to let the dog out. I'll be right back.
You let the dog out.
You're free, brother. All right, I'm back. He was only 5 feet away from me. So what? Let's hear it.
Oh, I'm really getting close. Like auditions, I'm coming back. Like I'm down to the last. Like when you walk into a place, there's a stack. Say it's the actor's name, like Chaz or something like that. And then every week you go back, and the stack gets smaller and smaller and smaller because you're down to the last. So I'm like four auditions to.
But is that nervous when you're doing auditions? The butterflies, the nervousness.
The funny thing is that you look there, and the 3 guys in there, they all look like it. The guys who are sitting next to you, they all have the same body type, the same face, and that. I was down to me and another guy for America's Most Wanted once. It was awesome, and then I didn't get that. And then the Sean Penn film, it was me and another guy, and I didn't get it. And here's the thing about not getting it: they don't call you up and go, "Hey, you didn't get it." It's not that. They just don't call you.
Is that right? You're right. So you're waiting.
Yeah, you're just waiting.
Life's passing by. The bills are piling up.
Right, exactly. So I was working in a restaurant there, and that's funny because you used to say that was the big thing in LA. It's like, is you're an actor, yeah. So what restaurant do you work at?
Right.
Yeah. Where are you waiting tables? Because everybody waits tables. Everybody there is an actor and waits tables.
And at the same time, all it takes is the right person to find you, put you in a movie. Could have been a side spot in The Big Lebowski, and then you're a big star. I mean, not that you're not a big star, but you could have been.
Right.
It's all
and at the end of the day, when we're done, I'll tell you, because it was time. It was time to come home. Weasel, wazzle, wazzle, wong. Time for this one to come home. Remember that little cartoon?
Tooter the Turtle. One of my inspirations, like, be just what you is, not what you is not. Folks who do this are the happiest lot. Yes.
So I was Tooter the Turtle. So slowly moving along.
How many years there?
I was there for 7 years. 7 years, but I loved it. I lived in Calabasas, and I lived right by like the Kardashians, and it's such a rich area. And I only lived there because my roommate was Paul Fryer, who was from Southside, and he was the scout for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he's with the Boston Red Sox. He has a World Series ring. Great guy. So him and I. So I would go on audition after audition after audition. So I'm down to the last two for this movie called Sliding Home, which was The Marksman originally. Then they changed the name to Sliding Home. So I was down to the last two, and I remember going down, and Steve Canale from Dallas. Remember Steve Canale? He played. But anyway, he was big in that. He made all his money in that show. So he was the director. So I get a call, and this one guy who dropped out, and I'll think of his name anyway. He did he's passed away, this actor. He did Twister. He was the lead in Twister, but he left our film to do Twister, so that opened up the part back. So they had it down to me and another guy. So the other guy was in, and he walks out. He's first. He walks out and he leaves.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, and I walk in. I do the part, this and that, right? So I sit down, and he goes, and Steve goes, "We're going to offer you the part, EJ." He said, "Do you have anything to do for the next 6 weeks? We're filming in Wisconsin, and your flight leaves Saturday." This was on Thursday. "Your flight leaves Saturday because we're starting to film on Monday." And I was like, you know what I said to him? "Can I call my mom?" He said, "You could call your mom. You could call your dad."
So what happened? Did you meet Bill Paxton? Did this happen? What went down?
No, I did The Marksman. The other actor went and did Twister.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I was doing The Marksman. So I said, yeah. So I immediately drove up the 101. I went to my work at Finn's, walked in, and got my schedule cleared for almost 2 months in case there was things that we ran into. And we ran into another week.
This is it.
And I remember going down to LAX, getting on the plane and flying to Wisconsin. And I get off the plane, and there was a guy there holding a thing saying EJ Dewar on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'd like chills were going up my back. And so I walk in, and guess who the first person I meet?
Who is it?
Martin Cove from Karate Kid.
Get
right?
out of here.
Yeah. So him and I became friends, and he's on Cobra Kai now. Have you seen Cobra Kai?
No, I don't watch that. No, I don't watch much. No, I'm too busy. But this is your world. This is your world.
You're in bed by 8. But so that film goes well. Martha Byrne was in it from As the World Turns. She won Best Actress.
Wait a minute. So stop it though. So you're in this film?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How long? How big?
We opened it. I was the second lead in the movie.
So did it do well? Is it well known?
I don't know. I think it was on the West Coast flight. On the flight a couple times. We opened the movie here in Scranton.
But so now I got to know. All right. So here's where it gets nosy. You get a movie like you get a movie like that. What kind of money you make?
Well, I had enough to pay for a while. Honey.
What's it cooking? Is it hundreds of thousands? You're getting tens.
If you hear that noise, there's something going on with my washer.
Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands for one movie.
No, less than 100.
Okay.
But I mean, you're only there for 6 weeks, and I'll tell you something about. Of course, it's about you're making money, but I made more money in commercials than I ever did in the film.
I was going to say, what's a typical commercial pay? 1/16 commercial or whatever. I don't know.
I'll tell you this: that I made about 10 grand on an IKEA commercial, right? I did the IKEA commercial, and then they had the writer's strike right towards the end, which was a good thing for me because now they can't do any other. So they ran it for 2 years. So I was there one day. I made 70 grand.
Oh my God!
One day.
So what are you doing in the IKEA commercial? Let's see it. Do your spiel. What are you, like a background shopper, or are you like the guy who says IKEA?
I was at Dodger Stadium. They put all the furniture, they shoot the shot of us in the dugout, and we're like, these benches are these benches are terrible. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they put all the IKEA furniture in the dugout.
So you were the guy like complaining at first, and then the next scene you're all
now this is where it's at. You get every dugout should be like a IKEA.
Oh, I see. That's pretty cool. I thought you'd have all that ready to go. We're gonna have to research that. I want to see that.
Yeah, look it up. And I also did a Kirin beer commercial in Japan. I did it with a Hideki Nomo, the pitcher for the Dodgers at the time. But their beer is in cans, and a coffee, Kirin coffee. You know, Kirin beer. They have Kirin coffee, and it's in cans. The coffee's in the cans at the time, but it was never heard of coffee in the can back then. Like, you put money in the machine, and this one is wearing out. So I wear this one once in a while now.
You're switching hats.
Yeah. So
you're like John Candy twitching around back there. You're right. All right. So when do you say I had enough? When is that one day where you say, okay, I'm going back home?
Let me just tell you the finishing story of the I'm doing the Budweiser commercial, and you probably saw it before. The guy's carrying the beer, and you hear the crowd yell, "Drop!" Then you hear the guy yell, "Drop the beer!" And he doesn't drop the beer; it hits him in the head, the ball, right? So I'm the catcher in that commercial, right? But we did something. My Robbie Robinson, who was my agent, had a whole bunch of athletes, and we always did the commercials. Any kind of sporting commercial, whether it was lacrosse, it was tennis, or whatever, we were always in those commercials. So we get to Dodger Stadium, and we would throw the ball around. We loved it there. It was so free to go there, right? Playing on that field, the field was immaculate. They got a new groundskeeper, right? So as soon as we get there, he goes, "Get off the field," right? And we're like, "Where do you get off the field?" Just get off the field. So we go down the sides, and we're throwing the ball on the sides. "I told you guys, get off the field." So matter of fact, he made us spray paint our sneakers black, and they paid us $100 each to just spray paint our sneakers black to go get new sneakers, because he didn't want any spikes on the field. This guy's a jerk. He was such a jerk, right?
Yeah.
But I always would bring my pillow and cover with me so I could sleep in the dugout while they're shooting the scenes from the stands. So there's thousands and thousands of people there in the stands, and now they're shooting the stand scene. So I'm not in the stand scene, but they're going to go back and do the field scene. So I'm laying there, and I hear, "Get off the field," right? And I'm at Dodgers, and I'm in the dugout looking out, and there's nobody on the field, right? And all of a sudden, I'm dozing off. "Get off the field!" She's yelling. Well, what is he talking about? What is this person talking about? I'm trying to get a rest. I got about 2 hours before they start filming my scene again, right? I'm laying down sleeping, so I go, "Get off the field!" I run out of the dugout, right? And I go, "Nobody's on the effing field," right? And the director turns around and goes, "EJ, we're saying drop the beer, not get off the field." So I go like this. I go, "Okay, I'll just be right under here if anybody needs me. If anybody needs me, I'll be right under here." I thought because that guy kept saying "get off the field."
So the film was rolling, and you're just down there sleeping.
I was down there sleeping. You go, "EJ, we're saying drop the beer, not get off the field."
Hey, it's an innocent mistake. It's an innocent mistake.
So I was like, "Hey, okay, no worries." And then we'll go back to the Marksman. When I was filming the Marksman, Steve Canale and I became really good friends from Dallas, and he thought I was pretty witty, like to think of things real fast. And Marty Cove is out there yelling at the umpire in the scene, right? So he goes, "EJ, think of something funny to say," right? So, and now the camera's rolling, and they're doing a wide shot. So Marty's out there yelling this and that, and I go, "Get off the field! You look like the guy from Karate Kid." Right? Everybody in the audience and were all laughing, and I was kidding, right? And Marty Cove turned and goes, "That's not funny. That is not funny at all." Right? So Canale comes over to me and he goes, EJ, that was real funny. We can't use it, but that was very funny because everybody was in the stands. They're all like so nervous to be around Marty Cole. Like,
Yeah.
he's a human being for crying out loud. That's why I always tell what's his name from oh God, at Cooper's the time he was by you. The potato guy. Or Pierogies.
Mrs. T, George's, yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy T.
Yeah, Mr. T. I'll take. Okay, where were we?
Oh, as I say, so anyway, let's say, you're 7 years. It sounds like a great experience out west, though, right?
Oh, it's fabulous.
But then you said this is drying up. I got to come home. Something like that. Did a moment happen?
Well, the thing was is that I loved my wife so much, and and I loved Scranton. And here's
but you
the
weren't
thing
married at the time, were you?
No, we weren't.
But you're dating long distance. You can't date
long distance, and it was getting
2,000 miles away.
Yeah, and it was getting to the point, like, I was getting older. I was 35 when I got married. So, like,
no kids.
Getting to that point, like, no kids.
Her biological clock is tick, 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 tick.
I got no better person to marry than this girl who understands every flaw in my life. Like, where do you restart that? You know what I mean? You don't restart that anywhere. So I said, you know what? It's time. It's time. Go home. And I remember, like, when I decided I was coming home, my wife said, and I always say this also, is that the best decisions that you make always started with a no. Because my wife said to me, I said, well, what am I going to do when I come back to you?
I was going to say, so is she already a teacher now?
She was a teacher.
So she's a teacher, but she needs her man to come home and contribute. And what, you have nothing.
Right. And I got nothing. I have no job ready. I had some money in the bank, and then, like, what am I going to do? And the first thing she said to me was, matter of fact, we got our wedding was at Tacash's up by you.
Right by me.
Yeah, right by you. So, and it was awesome. It was outside. We had a great day. But anyway, I said, what am I going to do? And she goes, why don't you start a DJ business? And I said, absolutely. I said, absolutely not.
Come on.
No way. I said, no way. This is like, I'm not getting exposed. I just did a film. I'm gonna, like, now people are gonna be buying me. Like,
that's
like crazy. It's like, Stu, I was acting like an idiot. So then after we got married, we came back from our honeymoon, and we went down to this place and bought the equipment. And I said, we'll try it. And a friend of mine had it. My friend Jack, I bought his old mixer, stuff like that. I really had no idea what I was doing. But as soon as the songs came on, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is so much fun. So much fun. So I said, this will do it. And my buddy Paul Stefani calls me. He goes, oh, you started a DJ business. And my son's going to be 5 years old. I said, oh, we want you to DJ the party. So I DJ the party.
Was that your first gig?
That was my first gig, and I still see him. He's 27 or something like that right now. Right? No, he's almost 30 years old. So I think it was 4-year-old or 3-year-old, because I'm 24 years old. He's like 27. 24 years. So he's like 27.
So is this like 1990 or something? Where are we at now?
1998.
This is 98. So there's
July 31st, 1998.
So there's no Spotify. You're still spinning discs. You're spinning CDs.
CDs. I got CDs from this place down in Wilkes-Barre. It was called the Platinum Series. And I remember, like, doing my first wedding, they're like asking me for this song that was on Led Zeppelin's album. So I would have to run. You gotta
have it. You can't have everything back then.
You had to have it. So you went up and you bought the album.
Oh man!
For one song. It was nuts. Or the CD for one song, which was crazy. I spent so much money on it. Like I was made. But anyway, going back to it, it was the next day. My brother Pat, God bless his soul, was where he was the bartender at Whistles, and this was on a Friday. Saturday, he calls me and he goes, the owner Danny just said, "Hey, Pat, isn't your brother DJing now? Our band canceled tonight.
There's another gig. The gigs are piling
My
up
second
now.
gig is now my second gig's and it's packed, Joe. It's packed. And I got this I had no idea what I was doing. I had this 5-disc changer. I was like dead air DJs. I was like in between.
What I'm wondering is, number one, are you a music guy? Like, are you that guy who knows you hear a chord and you know what band it is, or no?
I used to be. Now with the newer stuff.
No, but back then, where you knew your stuff. If someone said, I want.
I was pretty good at it.
Okay. So if someone says they want Devo, you're gonna go whip it. It's right there.
Yep. I like that song with it. And
the other thing is, were you like a different kind of DJ? Were you all character and performance?
Well, what I knew about the DJs back then, no one performed. Everyone was just sitting back there playing their music. When I went to a place, I sang and I danced. I would teach them the line dances and I made up my own dance that I did. When I was in LA, I was doing this. I used to take aerobics with this one guy, and he had this dance and there'd be like 70 people in this class. So to this day, I still do it. I do it remember that song, Just Got Paid? Got paid. Friday night.
No,
Anyway, it was Johnny Gill's song, and then NSYNC redid it. So I would teach that to everybody, and I would have like 100 people doing this line dance, and it was the EJ the DJ dance, which I stole off my aerobics instructor in LA.
Well, EJ, if I must say this though, that's your secret weapon, because we've all been in front of a DJ who just stands there and spins the disc and doesn't say much, but you pump up the crowd. So you're like an inspiration and a DJ, and you're not afraid. The beauty of you though is you're not afraid to make a fool out of yourself. You don't take yourself seriously, and that's the problem a lot of other people have.
Yeah, it's okay to fail.
Okay. That's the key right there.
It is okay, because they're like even saying the wrong thing, and then you're like, okay, like Rosanna Dan, she'd say the whole wrong thing, and like my wife would come in and go, you did that whole show and it was like the wrong day. Like, okay. And then like moving on. Remember Rosanna Dan, she would be so off.
You can't succeed unless you fail, man. That's the key.
Yes.
Why don't people realize that? So you
get up one more time, you fall.
So people love you because I think you're energetic, you're positive, you're making a fool out of yourself, but you're knowledgeable, you're an inspiration, and that's all combined in your efforts. As soon as you first started doing that, did you think this is it, man? I know what I want to do, or not really? Did it slowly evolve?
No. Guess what? Since I've been doing this, there's other things that have popped into my mind, but I truly loved also, and Joe, you know this, you do work for WNEP, but it is so cool to run your own business.
Oh.
You're responsible for only me, and it's not like somebody coming down on you. Like the only one that'll come down on you is the brides or but you prepare.
Wait, notice you didn't say grooms, because it's always the brides.
I've only had one problem once in my, and I've probably, Joe, I'm at like 1,000 weddings. I've done like 1,000.
Yeah. Did the grooms even say anything?
This is my line on I would deal with the brides for months on the phone, and then they go, Jimmy can't make it Tuesday. We would meet before the wedding. Jimmy can't make it Tuesday. And I'd go, why is Jimmy coming? He hasn't done anything for this wedding since it started. Since he gave you the ring, he has not done one thing towards it. He's gotten up. He's getting the tux on.
Let's just get this out there right now. Men really don't want anything to do with a wedding. It's, the whole day is just a waste. I don't want anything to do with weddings. The women have to understand that.
Like I said to the girl, I said, did he get the flowers too? Like he didn't get the flowers. So Well, he does like some songs, and my brother Pat was so funny with this. Like he loved to play hip hop and 70s and dance, great dance music at weddings, right? And I'd say, Pat, they like country. He goes, guess what, EJ? They're gonna like hip hop. They're gonna like dance music.
So now that you're doing this for a living, could you explain quickly to someone like me who the life of a DJ, I would think, is it weekends only? Is it sometimes you don't work at all on a weekend? I mean, it doesn't seem like a full-time gig.
It is, believe it or not, it is. I mean, you're on the phone all the time, I was going, especially in June, I could have, because I have other guys that work for me now.
Right.
In June, I could have 40 gigs in June. And there's only 30 days. So figure that out. We could have 3 weddings on a Saturday. And then during the week, we have, okay, honey, we have like an elementary school. We have like their field days, like Lakeland. I think you saw me up at Lakeland. Your wife, I used to go to the Lakeland.
She probably hired you for that gig.
Yeah, she probably did. Yeah,
and then she told me to show up too.
Yeah, you did. You came once or twice. We were down at Montvale Country Club, down in the bottom down there. That's where they would have their elementary things. But
now, is your wife yelling at you? You got to go soon. You got another minute.
Yeah, I got to go up there. But I did want you to check into Charlie Chaplin's Body.
Okay.
Which is another movie that I did, and you could go on YouTube, and that I'm the lead in. And it's a short.
Give us your movies right now. Give us a couple movies. We can check this out.
Sliding Home. You can just Google EJ Doer.
Oh, okay.
EJ Doer, and it'll tell you the films. But there's a scene in that I'm most proud of in Charlie Chaplin's Body, and I have this real long monologue that I loved, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But Jeff Foam was the director of that, and he did a great job.
Well, it sounds like you had a rich history, and you continue to inspire.
And I coach high school softball. I coach high school softball at West Scranton High School.
You still got it.
Yeah, we five. I'm there for 5 years. Last year, we won our first district championship in school history. We went all the way to the state finals. We went to Final Four, and we open our regular season today against Scranton High School.
Woo!
I got a bunch of text messages if the fields are ready.
I bet you I can beat you in home run derby.
I don't think so.
All right. Hey, before we leave, go ahead. Give your plug. If anyone wants to contact you, what do they have to do?
You just give me a call. You know what? Not many people do this because somebody asked me for Snedeker's phone number once, and here's another thing that I do because I have friends that are like don't like anything. Like my buddy with the Boston Red Sox, he has tickets and all that. So I'll always say somebody like as soon as we end up today, they're gonna go. Somebody go, hey, do you have Joe Snedeker's phone number? And I go, here's what I tell them. I go, me and Joe had a falling out. So he changed his number. You know,
we have burners. We have burners. No, but if someone wants to
contact me, EJ the DJ, EJ Doer at 570-815-4822. And Joe, thank you so much, man.
And how about on the you're on the Facebook, you're on social media, you're
Facebook
all over the place.
Under EJ Doer. I did that show for 100 straight days during the pandemic. My kids came out and danced, and it was such a great time.
You did during the pandemic. You kept everyone entertained. I love it.
And we also raised with the match of Bernie Honda. I did in front of my house. I did a drive-by for the. I did a drive-by in front of my house, and we put buckets out there. And we did my live show out there, and we raised $25,000.
I saw some of those. It was excellent. That's why you have to end this right now.
$25,000.
Do a 10-second.
$35,000.
Do it. 35,000. Do a 10 seconds goodbye song and dance. Here we go. 10 seconds worth.
10 seconds.
I think you got to put the hat on and dance around. It's got to be done. If you're not watching, the hat is on, and here comes his song and dance. Sing us out, brother. Nothing copywritten.
Nothing copywritten.
Nothing copywritten. It's got to be totally original.
Oh,
EJ the DJ.
I'm better known as the
EJ.
body rocker. I got more mix than Betty Crocker. Cherry on top, lemon in the tea. I got more spice than Chef Boyardee.
EJ the DJ.
See you, Joe.
All right, peace out, brother.
Be good.
Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity. About